welcome to another time-saving episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your time-saving hosts.
Yeah.
I have lost over 120 pounds. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach, a Thrive Global certified coach, and with me is time-sensitive
Donald Weigel, and I have lost about 100 pounds. I've kept it off for about 6 years, and I am here to talk about it in a timely fashion.
In a timely fashion. Time is something that has fascinated generations. I don't know. I was trying to do like a Carl Sagan.
Time has fascinated generations. You should have said this was another time-wasting episode of We Only Look Thin.
Yeah, you know, we have some general ideas and directions that we're headed in, but sometimes I kind of freeze up and can't remember what I was going to do.
In case anyone didn't notice, we don't like have a script that we go by. We have notes that we follow.
We do, and one of the notes that I have, it says time saver, and that is something we did not save a lot of time for the first 40 years of our lives on the weight loss wagon, as they say. I don't know, but
there's a weight loss wagon.
There's a weight loss wagon, but in the last number of years since we have had our podcast, we have strived. I will say it boldly, that we have strived
Wow.
to make it convenient for our listeners to make better choices in their weight loss journey ventures.
Yeah.
And today is one of those days. And sometimes they say you have to take time to save time. Right?
Wow.
Right now, you feel
Yeah.
like, is this a waste of time, you're asking yourself? I thought I was going to save time and maybe make some good habits. But sometimes you need to invest before you get the dividends. So this is the investment part of your weight loss journey venture.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate you investing your time in this episode.
We do. And that sounds like the end of the episode, but really it's just the beginning.
We're just getting warmed
We're
up.
just getting started.
Yeah, we are going to talk about how to make things a little bit more convenient for yourself.
But don't I just need motivation?
Can I just say no?
No. Okay. So this episode is called The Weakest Link.
Yeah.
We know in society, time has told us that there was a television show called The Weakest Link.
Yeah, which I never watched one of, but I know for some reason that there was a, I want to say sort of austere British woman who would say, "You are the weakest link. Goodbye."
Goodbye.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. Like links are proven in science. They are proven that links are real things. But in that show, I just want to say, and I'm not joking, they would judge someone for being the weakest link and then throw them out.
Yeah.
But what we are saying,
we think, because I've never seen it,
we think is we want that weak link to get better.
Yeah.
We're not throwing it out. We're not throwing all your habits aside and just saying too bad, so sad for you. You just need more motivation. That is not what we are saying.
Yeah. You know, when I was a Boy Scout, we used to end every Boy Scout meeting, Boy Scouts, which are no longer the Boy Scouts. I believe they are called Scouting America now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they changed their name recently. Because they started letting girls in like 10 years ago or something. I can't remember. Anyway, so now it's Scouting America. Anyway, when I was a Boy Scout for a long time, I made it to Eagle Scout.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where's your badges?
I don't know. Somewhere. Storage at my parents' house or something.
We're going to fact check this and get back to you.
Yeah, so we would end every meeting by saying, "I promise to keep myself physically strong, morally awake, and mentally straight. The chain is only as strong as the weakest link." And then we'd say, "Goodbye."
You would just talk
in a weird British accent for some reason.
Get up and just disperse immediately. No more.
And then we would say,
chit-chat.
And then we would say, "Break!" And then we didn't catch the irony of breaking the chain at the end or something. I don't know.
See, when I was learning new information on a podcast about my very own husband, apparently.
Yeah.
But the only I was in Bluebirds, which everyone knows, and
is like Kirkland Girl Scouts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's off-brand.
Off-brand Girl Scouts. It's like President Select.
No, but like...
yeah, anyway.
Okay, but people actually, members of Wolt, I'm going to say Lana. Lana was a bluebird.
Yeah.
Hello, fellow bluebird.
I'm sorry I said anything bad about the bluebirds.
No, but I did feel like
Bluebirds unite. Tweet, tweet.
Tweet, tweet.
That was your slogan,
I feel like
right?
tweets are not the same as bluebirds, unfortunately, anymore.
Okay.
But while you were getting badges in Boy Scouts of America, Scout in America, I was busy on the playground of life playing the game Red Rover.
Oh, yeah.
Which, if you are not familiar with it, a bunch of your enemies...
Right.
Stand in front of you.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, come over here. We got stuff for you to do over here. They all link arms. And the goal of Red Rover is to run full speed toward your enemies who are all holding hands.
Right.
And your goal is to break through their barrier.
Yeah.
Now, that could go one of three ways.
Right.
Way one is you run toward them. They, with all their might, try not to break the chain. And
they hold you back.
And they hold you back.
Yeah.
Right? So your enemies hold you back. Second is that you are mighty. You are a mighty runner.
Right.
And you run and you break their chain.
Right.
And then I can't remember what happens. They go in the mush pot. I can't remember what, like,
yeah,
they lose.
I think they lose a person or something.
They lose a person?
I think they lose yeah, I can't remember, actually. That's a good question.
Anyway, so...
we'll have to look up the official Hoyle rules. Hoyle's rules of Red Rover.
Okay,
yeah.
So one is that you don't break the barrier. Two is that you do break the barrier, and then your opposing team loses. The third and more likely scenario for me was that I would run toward it with the notion that they were going to do their best to hold me back, and then they would just release their hands,
let go,
and you go flying through and fall on your face.
I have a vivid memory of two people just letting go of their hands and flying face first into the ground during Red Rover.
It was definitely... It was brutal. I don't know if people still play that game because it's not a nice game.
Yeah, probably not. There's lots of games we played on the playground that they probably don't allow at the elementary schools now.
Not nice, but tying this back to our weight loss journey ventures,
we're gonna get there.
We get there. We're coming back around. So our lives, time has told us time and again. Carl Sagan, for some reason, I can't remember, that we are often our own worst enemies.
Yeah, that's very true.
And in the Red Rover game of life, we are often the ones who are our own saboteurs. We have said it before. We will say it again. Saboteur.
Yes.
Which I'm not sure how to spell, but it's a word that we say, so it's fine.
That's what the internet's for.
That's what the internet is for.
Yeah.
But if we are using the Red Rover weakest link analogy in our weight loss journey venture, we have said many times before, and this is something that we did for ourselves as well, that we often sabotage our own efforts. We think that in this game of life, that we need to run headfirst into our problems and our goals just with great might. If I want to lose weight, I just need to run straight forward into it, and I'm sure it'll happen.
And then the chains of life just let their hands go.
And you fall.
And we tumble face first into the dirt. Yes.
Right. Because we have competing motivations.
Yeah.
We want to lose weight, but we also want to eat the delicious onion rings or the links. Are there links foods that we eat? Sausage links?
Yeah. Okay. Sausage links. I guess onion rings, maybe.
I don't know. Rings or links, I guess, if you bring them together.
Cheerios? I don't know.
Okay. So we try to gamify our weight loss habits by using as much force and motivation as we think we have to break through into our goal weights and our goal lifestyles. We confuse that big giant motivation for actual sustainable plans and habits that we put in place. And then we ask ourselves the mighty question that we don't actually intend on answering, which is, what is my problem? people ask, what is my problem? What's my problem?
Yeah, and we oftentimes confuse making things easier to do with motivation or with following a specific plan. Like we will say to ourselves, I just need to get more motivated to do this, or I just need to follow a specific plan, but we often fail because we don't customize plans to fit our lives.
Right. So we say like, oh gosh, I am going to join Weight Watchers. This is what is going to fix me. And we see it as this like thing outside of ourselves that we need to conform to. But like Donald said, if we don't actually look at our ability to follow plans and customize them to our own needs, we're going to fail time and time again and not understand why.
Yeah, I wish I could remember where I saw it. I think it was somebody I follow on Instagram said that the best plan for you probably doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
Because the best plan for you is most likely a plan that fits into your life and your needs and you as an individual, rather than a blanket plan that someone else has come up with.
But I don't have time for customization of my life. I just need to follow a plan. And that is where, again, that I'm just going to track calories and I'm going to lose weight. I'm just going to do Weight Watchers. I'm just going to do this one thing. And unless we actually reflect on how we can work it into our lives, we can have as much desire or motivation as we, can stand. But unless we actually make it easy for us to do it and adapt, it's not going to last. And one of the things that Gretchen Rubin talks about,
friend of the show, Gretchen Rubin, who we talked about extensively in the last 3 episodes.
She has liked as many as one of my
comments. Your posts, which basically makes her a close personal friend of ours. Yeah.
I can't remember what that is. There's like this word for like you feel like you know someone on the internet, but you really don't, and it's a little creepy. I think I'm that. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, no, I think it's called stalker.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Okay, so Gretchen Rubin, in her book, Better Than Before, talks about 21 strategies for habit formation. Do not worry, fine listeners. We are not going to go through all 21 of those right now.
For the next 17 hours, we're going to break down each one of her strategies.
Okay, so one of the strategies that she talks about is making it convenient to do the things that you want to do. Again, that ties into making it easy, having the ability to do the thing that you want to do. And BJ Fogg, friend of the show, actual friend, like I've talked to him.
Yeah, actual friend of at least of Catherine.
Yeah, friend of Catherine. He has, in his book, Tiny Habits, he has sort of a system in place that sort of describes how you actually make a behavior happen. You can have as much motivation as you want, but if you don't have the ability to do it, then it's not going to happen. So his actual, and this is where the math his sort of mathematical equation comes in. His equation is behavior equals motivation plus ability plus prompt. So you've got to have the motivation or the desire, I like to say.
Yeah, like he's using motivation to be more like you have to want to do it, not necessarily like we've talked a lot about how motivation is fleeting on this show, but it's more like it has to be something that you want to do.
Right. So your desire plus your ability to do the thing you want to do, plus the actual time of day, the prompt, and the reason to do it, that creates a behavior. Not just I'm going to buy Weight Watchers and suddenly lose weight. I'm going to listen to We Only Look Thin and lose weight. We've got to actually put systems in place. And BJ Fogg says that the easiest place to start with making a behavior actionable is to work on your ability. Making it easy, like Gretchen Rubin says, making it easy to do the things that we want to do. And a lot of times we throw up our hands when suddenly like Weight Watchers is too hard. Counting calories is too hard. I just can't get myself to not do it. I don't know what's wrong with me. We stop at that, like, why can't I just do it? And we don't actually follow through with that question. We just throw up our hands and say, well, I guess this just isn't the right time for me to do it. When really we can look at making it easier to do the things that we say we want to do. And what BJ Fogg sort of has us look at is the chain of ability.
Yeah.
Ability chain.
And now this is where all that chain shtick, weakest link stuff comes in. And he talks about how there are 5 segments of this chain, and examine which one or ones sometimes are making the behavior hard to do, and then make that simpler. And I just wanted to read a quote from him. He said, I sometimes replace ability with simplicity. By focusing on simplicity of the target behavior, you increase ability. Simplicity is a function of your scarcest resource at the moment. Think about time as a resource. If you don't have 10 minutes to spend and the target behavior requires 10 minutes, then it's not simple. Money is another resource. If you don't have $1 and the behavior requires $1, then it's not simple.
Exactly. So in this episode, we are going to give you the 5 different parts of the ability chain that BJ Fogg talks about to actually strengthen your habits and give you like the actual coaching tools that you need to work through your own problem. Because if we stop at, I know what I need to do, I just can't get myself to do it, that is not true.
Like, yeah, or asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Like, that's, oftentimes people put a curse word in there.
Yeah. Darn-a doodle do.
What the darn-a doodle do is wrong with me?
Well, and that taking that step to actually work through the issue or the problem makes it easier for you to come up with solutions that are actionable. Not just, well, it's just not the right time, or I don't have the right whatever. We're going to walk through the 5 parts of the chain. Because again, as my Eagle Scout husband has said.
Yes.
What was the thing about the link?
The chain is only as strong as the weakest link.
Right. So you could have but Katherine Weigel, I am walking 10,000 steps a day. Why am I not losing weight? Hey, Katherine Weigel, what else would they say to me?
I'm eating really healthy. Why am I not losing weight?
Right, exactly. So you might have a part of the chain that is super strong, and yay for you, but our ability to follow through with the actual plans that we have ties into that weakest link, that one bit that might not be working the way we want it to. So we are going to present to you the 5 different parts of the chain, which are time, money, physical effort, mental effort, and then routine. So look at your issues, and we're going to coach you through it. Look at your issues and help you decide which of these issues or multiple parts of the issues are actually why you can't get yourself to do something.
So which link in the chain, in the ability chain, is your weakest link, and which of those weak links do you need to bolster to get yourself to do the activity or the habit that you want to get yourself to do?
Exactly. So the first link in the chain is time. It has been a wonder from the ages. I was going to start the episode again.
It has fascinated people for generations. I wrote that down.
That seems like such hyperbole that I would put in a 5th grade essay.
Yeah.
Time. Let's take each letter. T is for time. I is for I'm. M is for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so time is when you ask yourself, what is my problem? So you ask yourself,
what is my problem?
Well, Donald, is your problem a time issue? Is it the duration that you think you need to do something? For example, I can't work out because society says I need to do that for 30 minutes a day.
Right.
I don't have 30 minutes. How could you make it easier for yourself? What if you did 20 minutes? Well, that's too much. Well, what about 10 minutes? That's too much. What about 5? Well, that's not enough. I'm never good. But what if you just start at 5?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, I'll do it. Getting to the point where the time meets your current bandwidth is really important.
And I have found over and over again that if I can get myself to do 5 minutes of something or 1 minute of something or 2 minutes of something, that I end up doing more than that. I end up finding a way. But if I say I'm going to do 30 minutes, then that feels overwhelming. And if I break it down into something smaller, it feels, much doable. So that also ties into, you're getting over your mental hurdles as well.
Well, and I think, too, we hear so many stories about the perfect kind of thing to do, whether it's a 45-minute Peloton workout or, 20 minutes of aerobic activity, or you're a garbage person, or you've got to food prep all day Sunday, right? All of those are time-based constraints. And when we let go of that perfect ideal and ask ourselves, if this is too much time, how much time could I give to this purpose? We did, I actually did a Zoom yesterday in Wolt where we talked about finding time to make time. And we have learned in America that there are 168 hours a week. And you might say, in the moment,
in America,
yeah,
your country may vary, yeah.
But there are 168 hours a week, and when you look in your day, I don't have 5 minutes today to worry about that. 5 minutes, that's too much time. But if you think out of 168 hours a week, you don't have 5 minutes to go for a walk, when you look at it that way, it's like, I could do that. That's actually not that much of a time. Once you have more time to give to something, super. But if we can start with 5 minutes, that is great. So look at the duration. Are you asking for too much time of yourself? How could you scale that back to make it more accessible to you for who you are today?
All right. So the next link in the ability chain is money. And I know this is a difficult one. It can oftentimes come from a place of privilege when you say, when you're talking about money and sort of telling people how to spend it. But this really, breaks down to a few things, and it can be upfront costs, actually being able to afford the food and the exercise equipment or whatever it is that you think you need to achieve your goal. And then it can be recurring costs, could be membership costs. It could be, recurring costs of buying the same, foods over and over again. And what we would suggest for you to do is to examine, one, do you really need to spend the money if you don't have it? Could you rework your ideas about what it is that you need? Now, maybe you're saying to yourself, I can only lose weight if I eat organic. And the organic food is too expensive. And it's just not true. Whether food is organic or not has nothing to do with the number of calories that are in it. Or you might be saying to yourself, I can only lose weight if I, have a gym membership, which I can't afford. And saying to yourself, realizing there are plenty of other types of movement out there that you can get without a gym membership. There's plenty of free things. Or maybe you just invest one time in an upfront cost of some dumbbells, and there's tons of online YouTube, dumbbell workout videos that you can do at home that you spend that money one time on the dumbbells and then you don't have to spend it again. And, so really examining your ideas about how you have to spend money oftentimes can remove those barriers.
Right. Because there were so many times where we're like, well, I can't afford a personal trainer. I can't afford a juicer. I can't afford a whatever. That's why I can't lose weight. And when we flip that around and ask ourselves, how could I make this more accessible? Because there are so many free resources in the world that we can turn to. And when we turn from that, I can't because, and flip it to, here are some low-cost or no-cost alternatives that make it accessible to me. It's much more empowering to focus on what you can do with the resources you have than what you can't. And further on the money side, like Donald was saying, maybe you're in a position where you're going, oh gosh, I have been spinning my wheels for a really long time. And what is actually going to help me is joining a gym.
Right.
Like, or it is investing in single serving containers, or it is buying that fitness watch or those more expensive running shoes that make it so that your feet don't hurt. There are certain costs that are great investments in your health. It doesn't have to be an absence. It can be adding. What cost can you add that will make it easier for you to do what you say you want to do?
Yeah, sometimes it can be a mental barrier to spending the money and not the actual lack of money itself. And if you reframe it to I am investing in my health, I am investing in myself, that can open up the possibility that you can be okay with spending that money. And again, I don't like to tell anybody about their finances, but certainly a lot of times we spend money on lots of things that don't get us closer to our goals, that we have no problems spending it on. And if we really examine and think about it as investing in ourselves and our health and our future, it can really then, open up that door to being worth it.
Well, and I honestly didn't think that we had that much to talk about on the money side, but the judgment of spending from other people is like, why do you need a gym? Like, that is a waste of money. Why do you need a support group? Can't you just do it? Just lose weight. Like, what's your problem? When we feel judged by others by the way we want to invest our money in ourselves, that can also be a barrier to address.
Absolutely. Okay, dear. So what is the third link in the BJ Fogg ability chain?
Okay, the third is the physical effort. When we look at ability, is it within our scope of our literal physical strength? Are you saying, well, I want to, like in a practical sense, I need to bench press 100 pounds. Well, that is too much. Okay, how could you make that physical effort lower? Like, would you be able to do 50 pounds? Would you be able to do 20 pounds? When we get to that point again where we say, well, that's not enough, we're looking at starter steps. We're looking at ways to make it easy for who you are now instead of that ideal. When we started going on walks, I suggested to Donald, like he would say, hey, I can't afford a gym. And I would say, hey, why don't we walk our daughter to school? And he would say, hey, that's not very much.
I was going to say, what's that going to do?
Yeah, what's that going to do?
Which is a terrible attitude to have.
Which Donald actually quoted something I said terribly about our daughter and having a successful high school career, which I apologize for. I don't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, no, that was last episode. I wrote it down and I texted it to her. It was
that wasn't very nice, but it's funny. So. But that, like, the physical effort, like, we go through this battle of, well, that's not enough. Well, that's too much, right? Well, where do we start? What physical effort could we bring to a situation? It could be also physical effort if we're looking at food. I don't have the emotional energy to chop vegetables at the end of the day for a half hour. I don't want to make home-cooked meals. That is too much work for me.
Yeah, me too.
I don't have the right recipes. I don't want to make recipes. I can't lose weight. How could we reduce the physical effort that it takes to get the things done that we want to have done?
And I have to say, I think I've said this dozens of times on this podcast, but when I realized that walking was real exercise, it was such a mind-bending, eye-opening, a shaft of light coming down, the clouds parting moment in my life, because I hated most of the exercise that I thought I had to do. The exercise I did with personal trainers, the exercises I did at gyms, the running, all of those things just were such a chore that I didn't want to do them anymore. But realizing that I could break it down and to do something that was enjoyable to me, like just walking and getting steps and gamifying it and trying to add steps, really was one of the keys to being able to do this long term and hitting my goal weight, because it removed that barrier I had of hating to do that physical effort.
Well, and to making that idea of making something convenient for yourself and easy to do, that physical effort can also tie in to literally your physical environment. So if we have a treadmill that is under our bed collecting dust.
Right.
And we say to ourselves, Like I can't work out because like the treadmill is under the bed and the box is in front of the door and it's hard to get it out. And if each time I want to work out, I've got to spend 10 minutes excavating a machine from under my bed, that is physical effort that is wasted. That is a barrier. And someone else might say, well, just do it. It's not a big deal. But if it is
right.
physically, like if it's an impediment to you, making it easy to do the things that you want to do means compromising your aesthetic like experience. Like for us, we have rebounders leaning against the wall of our living room. Is this going to be something in Architectural Digest that they're going to focus on? No. But making it easy for ourselves. Yes, Donald?
We have an appointment with House Beautiful. They're going to come over and photograph specifically our rebounders leaning against the wall.
I like the idea that they're going to like have a video camera and they're panning like across the horizon of our room, and then it suddenly shifts up to the ceiling and back down and around.
See, I imagine they're panning across the room and it's like nice music, and then they hit the rebounders and suddenly the price is right, like like horn comes on. Yeah.
But that like, in order to make it easy for us to do our workouts, the physical environment is set up to accommodate that. That means ease of access to things like our rebounders, like our like measuring scales. If we had them up in the back of a closet in the back where you have to get on a ladder every single time we want to get something done, that is not convenient. We are putting a barrier in our own way. So getting to the point where your physical effort to get something done is eliminated. There is no physical effort there. Makes it easy to do. Ability chain unlock.
Or at least you're trading out physical effort that you hate for a physical effort that you can actually get yourself to do. I think is part of this.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next link in the chain, link 4, is mental effort, and this can come in a lot of forms. And one of them is having a hard conversation or a hard convo. Catherine
I wrote in my notes, hard convo.
Hard convo in her notes, which it could be, I want to make a change in my life, but I don't want to have the conversation with my family about it, or I don't want to have the conversation with my friends about it. Like my friends, like they can't hang out unless it is out drinking, and I don't want to drink when I go out with them, but I don't want to have that conversation with them.
But honestly, that inner negotiation that we have with ourselves about our boundaries is really difficult.
Yeah.
Telling people like, hey, please don't judge the size of my salad. That mental effort can be really difficult. And in times when we're not feeling like we have the bandwidth, we might just go, you know what, this is too, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to have the conversation. So I'm just not going to do what I know is in my best interest because I just don't want to draw attention to myself. And that mental effort can so easily break our ability to do what we say we want to do.
And then another portion of this could be decision fatigue.
Oh my gosh.
Or having to make all of these decisions. I don't know what I want to eat. I don't know what exercise I want to do. I don't know when I'm going to want to do it. I don't know what I feel like today. And figuring out ways to take your decisions out of it, or deciding once. And, you know, we've talked about making policies for things, or, I'll talk about this more in the next episode, but something I do all the time is I eat a lot of the same things all the time. So I don't have to think about what I'm going to want at a particular time. And then another part of this is emotional bandwidth.
Yeah.
And there are just times where I feel, too overwhelmed to make the right choice all the time. And, this even, in the same day, this can change.
Yeah.
I might feel great in the morning and be able to make, great decisions in the morning. And then by, dinner time, I'm I'm making poor, terrible decisions.
I thought you were going to say making porn. And yes. I don't have the bandwidth. We do live in the San Fernando Valley. Sorry, okay. I'm sorry about that.
No,
making poor decisions. Yeah, like my decision to make that joke.
Exactly. And then, also it can take time to process your feelings about something. Like you can, decide to do something and you might not know why it feels so difficult to do it. And you might just need some time to figure out like where that's coming from.
Well, and that's where like coaching and sort of having someone to bounce ideas off of to help you sort of simplify yourself. Because a lot of times we get in our own way and we don't even know we're doing it. It's like, I'm doing everything I can. I'm giving all of my mental effort thinking about weight loss and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
We get stuck in those analysis paralysis. Which is the best plan? What should I focus on? What is the best food to eat? What combination of whatever? We can just spiral into overthinking everything. And that like, what is it? Perfectionism and procrastination. It's just like, we just keep spinning our wheels instead of moving forward and testing out a hypothesis. So being able to reduce the mental effort there of like, again, and we'll talk about it in the next episode, like limiting your choices, moving ahead with things. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can make progress anyway. It's really important.
Absolutely. Okay, so what is the final link in the ability chain?
Okay, so this is the routine, and I am going to take Mr. James Clear to task on Atomic Habits.
Who's James Clear?
James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits.
Oh, okay. Listeners may not know that.
Okay, so I'm not in like some battle royale with BJ Fogg and Tiny Habits and James Clear.
Yeah,
and
BJ Fogg wrote Tiny Habits. James Clear wrote Atomic Habits, and they frequently make jibes at each other publicly.
Well, anyway, they're just different approaches.
Yeah.
I feel like James Clear focuses on routine as sort of the cornerstone of adding habits to your life. But really, it's just part of it. Because, again, the time, money, physical effort, and mental effort are such a huge part of it. Routine is critical. Actually, okay, I've got the time, I've got the money, I've got the physical effort and the mental effort. But if we actually don't build it into our routine, it's not going to happen. So we can have the best intention, but unless we make it an actual part of our life, it's not going to happen. So yay for James Clear and Atomic Habits and routine. But all of these other things factor in too. So by routine, we mean when is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, is it finding the right time in your schedule that matters? Is it where? Is it something that's going to happen at home, at the grocery store, at the gym, at work? What you're actually going to achieve, how and who you're going to do it with. So it's basically that what, when, where, how, who, all of those questions fall into the routine part of it. Because if we just say like, oh, I'm going to run 20 minutes a day. I've got 20 minutes a day. That's fine. But if we don't actually say when we're going to do it, where we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, like building that into our routine, we can have all of the intentions in the world, but it's not going to happen because we just don't have that prompt. We don't have that, like that part of our day that we have planned out. We actually did some role playing yesterday for Donald. I won't talk about it in this one, but
yeah, no, we don't need to break it down. I was actually going to bring that up too. We don't need to break down the specifics, but I was having an issue with, Catherine sort of asked me, what is a habit?
I forced it.
What is a habit that I'm trying to create? And I would like to be better at cleaning out my email inbox and unsubscribing from junk mail, emails that I get. And Catherine broke it down and talked me through like, well, okay, could you do it then? Could you do it this day? Like what would work for you? What are the barriers to, and she kind of went through each of the,
yeah, we went through time and money and like, it wasn't a money problem.
Yeah. Not a money problem. Time, mental effort, all of that. And, we went through each step and I now have a pretty good plan of at least spending some time a week on that project. And, so I think if you go through each of these and figure out your routine, you go through each of the links in the chain, it one at a time, it really does make it easier to kind of figure out when and where you're going to do these things.
Right. So routine for some can seem like a super boring drag, man.
Others of us thrive on it.
No, but, finding ways to simplify means taking out all of the guesswork. It means getting out of your head and overthinking everything and coming up with systems that make it, again, easy to do the things that you want to do for the current season that you're in. Maybe a year ago, life was different. You had a different job. You had different stressors. You had a different schedule. Maybe you've fallen out of what you thought was your ability to do something. And you're thinking, it used to be so easy and now it's so hard. I don't know what went wrong. And being able to go through each of these, this process of narrowing down what the actual issues are and what you can realistically do now as you are today instead of looking at the past is super powerful. And thinking about, is this a time issue for me? Am I asking too much time of myself? What kind of financial investment do I need to make? Or how can I make it easier by cutting out finances? What kind of physical effort does this require? How can I simplify that? Isn't that what you said? The simplifying?
Yeah.
How can I make it simple, easy, efficient, predictable? Again, reducing that mental effort and then finding a place in your routine throughout your week, your month, whatever. It doesn't have to be every single day, but working through that actually gives you actionable steps to make what you say is important to you a part of your life. We can have as much motivation. We can look at influencers and say that we want what they want. We can have a lightning bolt moment of, oh my gosh, I've got to make radical change. You can have a big, audacious goal that you want to hit.
Yeah.
But unless we look at looking at that ability chain, we can spend so much mental energy on wondering, what is wrong with me? Without actually going through the steps of saying, what is wrong with what I think I need to do? And how can I make it easier for me to do it? And I personally helped Donald Weigel Jr. think about it yesterday.
You did. And I'm very happy with the plan moving forward. We'll see how it actually goes. And look, a lot of this involves troubleshooting, and you might identify your weak link and then realize you also have another weak link that you need to deal with. But but it's all part of the process and getting started.
Ooh, and I have a secret sixth chain.
Uh-oh.
I think I mentioned it yesterday, and maybe it falls into other parts of the chain.
Yeah.
So this is Link X.
Okay, Link X.
Is your environment set up to accommodate what you think you want to do? And again, that ties into the physical effort and time and all of that stuff. But making it so it is convenient for you to do the things that you say you want to do. So this week, your assignment is to catch yourself when you're asking yourself, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
What the flip-a-doodle do, everybody? Which, if you're Ned Flanders, hello and welcome to our podcast.
Or Catherine Weigel, if you talk like that to yourself.
But really, go through this week, and when you're feeling friction, when you're feeling frustrated, ask yourself, is this a time issue, money, physical effort, mental effort, routine, or something in my environment that is making it difficult for me to do what I say I want to do? Bringing awareness to that ability chain will help you navigate an issue and come up with solutions instead of just, again, spending another month going, I just can't get myself to do it, which we've all been there. And if this process can help simplify, I know we have used it to simplify our plans. Next week, we are going to do a deep dive into this ability chain in managing food issues.
Yeah,
so we've given you
talk about some of the things that we've actually done to make each of these links in the chain a little stronger.
Exactly. So this week, ask yourself, what is my problem?
No, don't ask yourself that.
As you Red Rover yourself, head first into an issue, instead of using that brute force, maybe just saunter slowly I never sauntered toward a Red Rover.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen you saunter in all the years we've been married. No.
But what if we rewrite our narrative, and instead of going at things with brute force, if we approach situations mindfully, asking ourselves questions, and then working on answering those questions, maybe we won't land face first on the playground of life, and we will actually be successful. WeOnlyLookThin.com.
Promo code Red Rover. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the show. We are grateful for each and every one of you. The most recent 300 episodes are available on all of the major podcast platforms, and every single episode is available on YouTube and at WeOnlyLookThin.com.
Yep, and if you are at WeOnlyLookThin.com, click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. Wolt Place, We Only Look Thin Place, is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place for support, accountability, troubleshooting, and just honesty about the struggles and successes of weight loss. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly option with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you. And again, not only is it a place for support and fellowship, but I also do weekly Zoom meetings where we can do deep dives on issues. There's great support, and it's like some weird aggressive, like bro, chacho, mean guy Fight Club thing. It's like, hey, we're all in this together and we're friends.
Do people mistake it for that sometimes?
No, but there are groups that are like, tough love, just do it, get it done.
That is for sure.
There are people who thrive in that kind of environment, and then there are people who actually want to share feelings and be understood. And still, we're all working on maybe different plans, unique plans, but our challenges, no matter what the plan, are very similar. And so we are here to work on it together. Check out Wolt Place, see if it's right for you. We would love to have you in the group.
Yes, we would. So check it out. You can also check us out on the interwebs on social media. We are on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin. And I think we are working on our ability chain to make our Instagram and Facebook a little more pizzazzier.
Pizazzy-razzier. Yeah. I was on a Zoom this very morning.
About pumping up the Instagram or something.
And simplifying.
Yeah. So you can check us out there, or you could send us an email. We enjoy getting emails from listeners. We like episode suggestions. We've turned a lot of listener emails into episodes of the show. You can ask us questions. We've turned some of those into episodes of the show. We also will do our best to answer your questions if you email us. You can also send us a compliment. We like getting those too at weonlylookThin@gmail.com.
Yep. And if you have a couple of extra minutes and can head over to Apple Podcast, please leave us a rating and a review. We've gotten a few new ones recently for people who have just found the podcast. We so appreciate it. We're up to 670 star reviews.
Wow. Hey, so that's pretty good.
That's really good. Yeah. And we honestly so appreciate it. It lets us know that what we're doing is making a difference in your life. Other people are finding our podcast and leaving a little note gives us a boost, and it helps other people find our podcast when they are looking for healthy, super cool beans podcasts like ours.
Yeah, the more ratings and reviews we have, the more Apple boosts us in search results when people are looking for podcasts like ours. So that would really help us out.
You might even say that Apple jacks us with the ratings.
Oh my God.
I'm going to talk about as many cereals as I want.
Apple Jacks talk. And if you could just tell somebody about the show, that would really help us out. Word of mouth is one of the best ways in which the show grows. When you recommend something directly to somebody, they're more likely to check it out because they can recognize that you are a person who knows what they're talking about. So if you're in a conversation with somebody and it comes up, that would be great. Or if you are on the interwebs, if you're on a Discord server, a Reddit group, the dark web or something,
the light web, the mediumly toasted web, or like the untoasted web,
or a Facebook group like Lose Weight Eat Pizza, something like that, and it makes sense to give us a shout out. We would really appreciate it. That helps the show grow, and we would be grateful.
We sure would.
So if you are still fuming mad at me for besmirching the good name of the Bluebirds early in this episode, please try and remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.